Ever feel like you're standing at the edge of a jungle,
Oh, I know that feeling.
an API testing jungle that is
Yeah.
unsure which path to take?
Yeah.
Rest Assured and Postman are two pretty popular trails, but knowing which one suits your needs, well, it can be tricky.
It can be.
Today, we're going to be exploring both, not just as tools for developers, but as valuable assets for anyone working with APIs.
Absolutely. By the end of this deep dive, you'll not only know which tool is your best bet, but you'll also have some insightful nuggets to share with your team.
Okay, so let's start by mapping out the terrain.
Right.
Rest Assured is known as a powerhouse, especially for Java-based projects.
Mm.
What makes it so powerful?
Think of it as the Swiss Army knife of Java API testing.
Okay.
It integrates deeply with your Java projects, which is ideal for automation and navigating those complex validation scenarios.
Right.
But just like a Swiss Army knife, it takes a bit of practice to master all of its features.
So Rest Assured demands a bit more expertise.
A little bit.
On the other hand, we have Postman. I've heard it described as more of a multi-tool, ready for anything.
Exactly.
So what's the draw there?
It's fantastic for quickly exploring APIs, collaborating with your team, and even generating documentation.
Okay.
And its friendly GUI is a big draw for folks who want to jump into testing without needing to write a lot of code.
Ease of use.
Exactly.
But our sources suggest that Rest Assured really shines when you need to build those robust, maintainable test suites, especially within a Java environment.
Yeah, that's where it really shines.
What makes a test suite robust and maintainable?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Robustness means your test can handle unexpected changes or errors gracefully, while maintainability ensures you can easily update and adapt your tests as your API evolves.
Okay.
Think modularity, reusability of code, and clear assertions that make it easy to understand what's being tested.
Mm-hmm.
Rest Assured structure lends itself well to this kind of organized approach, especially for larger projects.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But isn't a user-friendly interface like Postman's better for collaboration, especially in a fast-paced environment?
Postman is definitely great for getting everyone on the same page quickly.
Right.
But when those test suites grow large and complex, maintaining them within a primarily GUI-driven tool can become challenging.
I see.
Imagine trying to track down a bug in a massive spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah.
It can get messy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So there's a trade-off there.
Definitely.
Speaking of speed, our sources mention that creating test cases in Rest Assured can take a bit longer compared to Postman. They found that building 10 test cases in Rest Assured took around 30 minutes,
Oh, wow.
while Postman clocked in at 15.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
That's where Postman's strength in rapid prototyping and exploration shines.
Right.
It allows you to quickly get those tests up and running, which is super valuable in the early stages of development or when you're experimenting with different approaches.
So this is making me think about how each tool handles the actual process of, say, a simple Ganeshi request.
Oh, that's a great way to understand their core differences.
Yeah.
Rest Assured uses Java code to construct the request, offering tremendous flexibility, but requiring you to be comfortable with reading and writing code.
Right.
So,
Postman provides a visual interface to build the requests step by step.
precisely.
That sounds much more approachable for those who might not be expert coders.
Absolutely. Postman's strength lies in its visual workflow, making it easy to understand the request's structure and the data being sent and received.
So is Postman limited to just pointing and clicking, or can you do more advanced things?
It's important to remember that Postman isn't just point and click.
Oh,
For those who need more power and control, you can absolutely incorporate JavaScript scripting within Postman for more advanced scenarios.
like what kind of scenarios?
Well, imagine you need to test your API with a large data set.
Okay.
Instead of manually entering each value, you can use JavaScript to loop through a data file and run the same test with different inputs. This is called data-driven testing. And it's one way Postman can handle more complex situations.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's a great example of how Postman offers a layer of depth for those who need it.
definitely.
What else did our sources highlight that might surprise our listener?
One thing that really caught my eye was Rest Assured's potential for performance testing.
Really? I wouldn't have thought of that.
It can even be integrated with dedicated performance testing tools like JMeter.
Oh, wow. So that's getting pretty serious.
Yeah, can get pretty advanced.
What would that integration look like?
Imagine you've built an API using Rest Assured, and now you need to see how it performs under heavy load.
Okay.
By integrating with JMeter, you can simulate hundreds or even thousands of users hitting your API simultaneously.
Wow.
This allows you to measure critical metrics like response times, throughput, and error rates, which can help you identify bottlenecks and optimize your API for better performance.
So it's about going beyond just making sure the API works and seeing how it behaves under pressure. Okay, that's a whole other level of testing.
Yeah, it is.
What about Postman? Any hidden gems there?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
The mock server functionality in Postman is a lifesaver, especially when you're working with APIs that are still under development.
Mock server?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
Imagine you're building a mobile app that relies on an API that's still being built by another team.
Okay.
Instead of waiting for the API to be fully functional, you can use Postman to create a mock server that simulates the API's behavior.
That's interesting.
This allows you to continue developing and testing your app without being blocked by the API's progress.
So it's kind of like a placeholder?
Exactly, like a stand-in actor while you wait for the star of the show to arrive.
I like that analogy. That's really helpful.
It is.
I can see how that would be incredibly useful in agile development environment.
Absolutely. And it's just one example of how Postman can streamline your workflow and make you more efficient. It also has this amazing ability to generate API documentation directly from the requests and responses you've been working with.
Wait, so no more struggling with separate documentation tools?
Nope, you got it.
You can just generate it right there in Postman?
Right within Postman.
Tell me more about that.
Exactly. You spend all this time crafting these beautiful API requests and getting the responses.
Right.
Why not have Postman automatically turn that into clear, shareable documentation for your team?
Okay.
It even supports different formats, so you can have it ready for developers, testers, or even project managers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
This is giving me a lot to think about in terms of my own API testing workflow.
It's a lot to take in.
Not just about picking one tool over the other, is it?
You got it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most effective approach is to use the best of both worlds. Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by this idea.
It's an interesting one.
What would a hybrid approach look like in practice?
Picture this. You're starting a new project and need to get familiar with a new API.
Okay.
You could jump into Postman,
All right.
use its intuitive interface to send some requests, explore the responses, and quickly get a feel for how the API behaves.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Postman's ease of use seems like a great fit for that initial exploration phase. It's almost like a reconnaissance mission.
Exactly. You're scouting out the terrain, understanding the lay of the land.
Right.
And while you're at it, you can even start building some basic tests in Postman and easily share your findings with the team using its collaborative features.
Okay.
This is especially valuable in those early stages where things are changing rapidly.
So we've used Postman for our initial exploration and have a good understanding of the API. What's next?
Once you're ready to move beyond exploration and build a robust automated test suite,
Okay.
especially if you're working in a Java environment, that's when you bring in Rest Assured's power and flexibility.
So Postman for the reconnaissance mission, Rest Assured for the heavy lifting.
Exactly.
I like it. But how would you actually manage switching between the two tools?
Right.
Would that create extra work?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Think of it as having different tools for different jobs.
Right.
You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb, right?
Yeah.
The key is to leverage the strengths of each tool at the right stage of your workflow.
I see.
You might start in Postman to understand the API and create some initial tests, then transition to Rest Assured for more complex scenarios and automation within your Java project.
It's almost like building a bridge between quick exploration and in-depth automated testing.
Exactly. You're creating a seamless workflow that leverages the best of both worlds and ultimately empowers you to test those APIs with confidence and efficiency.
You know, I came into this deep dive feeling a bit overwhelmed by the choices, but now I feel like I have a much clearer roadmap for my API testing journey.
That's fantastic to hear. But remember, choosing the right tools is just the first step.
Right.
Mastering them and integrating them into your workflow is where the real magic happens.
So what advice would you give our listener who's ready to take that next step? Where should they go from here?
Both Rest Assured and Postman have fantastic documentation and vibrant communities.
Okay.
You can find tons of tutorials, blog posts, and even online courses to guide you every step of the way.
And don't forget the power of hands-on experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Start with a simple API, maybe one you're already familiar with.
Okay.
Try replicating some basic requests in both Rest Assured and Postman. See which one feels more intuitive, what challenges you encounter, and what excites you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Experimentation is key.
It is.
Before we move on to our final thoughts, let's do a quick recap of what we've covered so far.
Sounds good. Egg?
We began by introducing Rest Assured, the powerhouse for Java-based projects, highlighting its strength in automation, handling complex scenarios, and building robust test suites.
Right.
Then we met Postman, the multi-tool, with a user-friendly interface that shines in rapid prototyping, exploration, and collaboration. We talked about the trade-offs between the two, acknowledging that while Postman's GUI makes it quick and easy to get started, Rest Assured's code-driven approach offers greater flexibility and scalability for larger, more complex projects.
Absolutely.
We even dug into some real-world examples, like how long it takes to build test cases in each tool and how they each approach handling a simple GDE request. And we explored some of their more advanced capabilities, such as Rest Assured's potential for performance testing through integration with JMeter and Postman's mock server functionality and built-in API documentation generation.
We covered a lot.
Wow, we really have covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question to ponder.
What if you don't have to choose just one?
What do you mean?
What if the most effective approach is to incorporate both Rest Assured and Postman into your workflow?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a powerful idea. Using each tool strategically based on the specific needs of your project and workflow.
Exactly. Imagine starting in Postman for that initial exploration, getting a feel for the API, and then transitioning to Rest Assured when you're ready to build out those robust automated tests within your Java project.
That's a really compelling hybrid approach.
It is.
It seems like you'd get the best of both worlds, speed and collaboration up front with Postman, then depth and power with Rest Assured when you need it. This is making me rethink my entire testing strategy.
That's the beauty of exploring these tools side by side.
Yeah.
It's not always about picking one winner.
Right.
Sometimes the most effective approach is the one that adapts to your specific needs.
I see.
Embrace the strengths of both tools and create a workflow that empowers you to test those APIs with confidence and efficiency.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not about limiting yourself to one tool or the other, but finding the right combination that works for you.
Exactly.
It sounds like a much more flexible and powerful approach.
It is. And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
The key is to experiment, explore, and discover what works best for you and your team.
So our listener is left with the challenge, not just to learn these tools, but to discover how they can work best together.
Absolutely.
That's a great takeaway.
It is.
Well, this has been a fascinating exploration, and we can't wait to see what you accomplish with your newfound knowledge.
Yeah. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and most importantly, keep having fun with it.
Until next time, happy testing.
Happy testing.